A room with a view of the whole city. Fashion luxury, that's what he's got pretty.
A first-class experience with British Airways, specifically on a return flight from JFK to London, Heathrow. And I'd like to invite you to some clear facts here, so I can explain how good this service actually is and what else is involved. It starts with the fact that there is a first-class check-in at JFK Airport, and it's relatively poor. Why? Visually, it's a wonderful experience, but when you go inside, there are staff members who just provide very poor service, really bad, grumpy, poorly trained. And they just don't feel like doing anything good for us. You can really tell whether they're handling economy, business, or first class. It's all equally bad. And from the side here are the wrong employees in the check-in area. This check-in could actually be a really nice experience if it were done in collaboration with American Airlines and British Airways. But it starts with the fact that out of these 10 counters, which are nicely equipped with a seat, 2 are already not staffed at all. The other 6 switches are therefore compact, completely for American Airlines, and 2 counters are for British Airways. And when you approach the other 6 counters, where the staff are from American Airlines, and you ask, could you check me in for British Airways here? They say, no, those are only the 2 counters up front. So that means they have nothing to do. Just sit comfortably and send you to the British Airways line. So as a first-class passenger for British Airways, you find yourself in the first-class check-in area of American Airlines in a line because they only have 2 staff members there and the other 6 are chatting privately. That's the first reality you step into. Then these 2 employees are relatively poor, trained. So that means they forgot to print my TSA pre on the card, for example. So that means I had to go back. With this TSA Global Entry, TSA Pre, I had to get that registered, and only then was I able to go into the TSA Pre line. That means I can get through faster. If I didn't have that, then, after the first-class check-in, I have to go to a security area, which is the processing for passport control and the safety area for the luggage. There should be 2 options. On the right, that's TSA Pre, and there are 40 people standing there. And then on the other side, to the left, where you come out after first class, there are, I would say, about 1,000 people. And since you don't want to stand in that crowd, TSA Pre helps, of course. TSA Pre, because then you can get through quickly in about 3 to 5 minutes with those 40 or 50 people standing there. That makes sense. And it's also important. So if you don't have TSA Pre, you end up waiting an extra hour, even though you're a first-class guest. Because they also send people into the overall first class, meaning they send them to the economy check-in, and that's just terrible. I find this service to be awful, and for us, it feels like a real slap in the face. But once I got through, luckily I made it to a first-class lounge. Well, that's always relative, because this Chelsea first-class lounge is just a name. The service offered there is just as bad, just as classically American as the check-in area. Namely, there are dirty glasses, there are friendly staff, but the quality is just your classic burgers and stuff. So that means this Chelsea lounge where you can definitely get a good champagne and also enjoy a fantastic whiskey. Then there are fries and burgers and stuff as a combination. Okay, we're in the USA, you can accept everything. But I mean dirty showers, dirty glasses that when you hold them up to the light you think, this can't be true. I even had lipstick on me. What I've experienced here is just unbelievable and really can't be topped. The quality of travel in the first-class segment with American Airlines, which really presents more of a pseudo-first class, is offered in collaboration with British Airways as well, is just unbelievable in the ground service area. That we have to put up with this is outrageous, and the fact that no one cares about it is even worse. So it means that the responsible managers don't care at all, And you could say they're probably dealing with some other things, but not with the handling of first-class premium guests like us. So I had a short stay in this first-class lounge, this Chelsea lounge, which, well, I would say is somewhat okay. I made a little detour to the American Express, that is, to the Centurion Lounge. And I have to say, the quality there is almost better. There's only champagne for the top customers, but at least there was the option to enjoy being there. Then it was straight to the airplane. That is, we were off in a beautiful, I think, quite well-designed British Airways, first class. And it has been redesigned, and I really liked it on the way there. And I have to say, the return trip was also a pleasure for me personally. Sure, a lot depends on the staff, but in this case it was a pleasure and a joy because I was really lucky to have 2 employees who were eager to highlight the products and especially the quality of the food. And then there was a nice little glass there as well, champagne fine dining, and I could once again notice that there is a difference between the catering company Do & Co. in the European sector and the catering company Do & Co. in the USA. So I would say 50% worse in the USA. So the quality is already 50% worse. But what you can ultimately enjoy, there was also an overnight flight, relatively short, 6.5 hours, went by in a flash. And I enjoyed a bit of the entertainment program. I enjoyed the new seat, which brought me a lot of joy. The space is really appealing as well. And so this first-class flight was actually like that. And is it really a pleasure just for the flight? And I have to say, British Airways has really delivered here. The people in charge here were top-notch. They really thought about us as customers and designed a product. What I think is a truly first-class product in today's new era. Also in terms of space, and that's very important in first class, it's absolutely sufficient. The seats are very nice, comfortable. You sit in a chair that feels like a Porsche design, and then you can also adjust it into a bed. I had a great time, a lot of fun. And I also find it nice that you can really close the window completely. And it's up to us whether we want the window open or closed, not the staff. That's something I also have to mention as a positive aspect. Maybe the storage options for clothes and so on are a bit small, maybe too small. But there is, I would say, fundamentally just the overall feeling you get when you're traveling with British Airways in the new first class is that you have a good product, a good seat, and relatively, when the staff is on board, it's a nice experience. The catering is better from Europe than from the USA, even though it's the same catering company. But still, I would say the flying experience in first class with British Airways is an absolute dream. And then what starts again is when you land in London, Heathrow, then, unfortunately, the nightmare starts again. And everything that British Airways did well before, they are now doing extremely badly again. Because you arrive, you have to walk through a mass of people. You have to take the train again. Then you have to go through security with the train and then take a bus. And then you eventually arrive at a different terminal. And when you're in this other terminal, then, fortunately, I say, you have a small division here. Again, between a business and first class segment. And they even have a small area for the Concorde. So for true first class guests, where you can relax and have a little breakfast if, for example, you only had a small bite to eat on board. I would say that roundabout is the flying experience. If you look at it from a pure flying experience, a really good story. But the service on the ground, the check-in, the lounge areas, and the connecting options, even the British Airways service in business as a connector, is just incredibly bad. Such terrible quality. And I can gladly show you a picture of the British Airways business class, of a seat that was already falling apart. But I was sitting there and thought, hallelujah. Where have I actually ended up? It became clear to me then with British Airways.